Good evening, my friends and followers. My name is Edward Washroom, the tutor in Edward's Academy. This evening, I want to officially apologize to you all, my followers, for not being online for a while due to ill health and other academic challenges. This evening, I want us to look at Module 12 in the series of what we were doing since last year, July to date. Module 12 will capture Introduction to Panel Data Regression. The word panel data sometimes refers to longitudinal data. It's that data set that contains observations about different cross-sections across time. An example of groups that may make up panel data series includes countries, firms, individuals, groups, demographic components, and hosts of others. A panel data is a collection of quantitative and qualitative information that are assembled over even an interval in time and ordered either chronologically. Examples of individual groups include individual group, countries, companies, firms, and other demographic components in our society. And panel data regression is that statistical issue that researchers passes through when they are dealing with information analysis that involves more than one firm, more than one country, or more than one individual at a particular time. Like time series studies, panel data contains observations collected at regular frequencies, either chronologically as said before. And like cross-sectional data, panel data contains observation taken across a collection of persons, firms, individuals. But the dynamics of panel data regression is premised on the fact that the panel data analysis combines the time series data and the cross-section data in its estimation procedures. And this is the novelty of the panel data regression. The advantages of the panel data regressions are: 1. The panel data regression can model both the common and individual behavior of a group, which implies that in panel data analysis, we can actually use an estimation procedure that establishes or estimates or models the behavior of the individual groups and the behavior of the common characteristics of all the groups in the model. Secondly, the panel data contains more information, more variability, and more efficiency than pure time series data or cross-sectional data, which implies that in panel data regression we get more efficiency when we estimate our regression output than what we would have gotten if we are in the time series regression framework. Thirdly, the panel data detects and measures statistical effects that pure time series or cross-section data cannot actually detect, which implies that the panel data regression is more robust or give us more robust results than what the time series regression can actually provide. Then lastly, the panel data can minimize estimation biases that may arise from either aggregating groups into a single time series, and the issue of aggregation in most cases is due to the fact that during aggregation of variables, you observe that the presence of heteroscedasticity may actually be found within the period, but the presence of panel data estimation will clean off most of these heteroscedasticity issues and have it presented in a manner that will actually be acceptable and readable. So in panel data estimation, the problem of biases in estimations are actually ruled out because in panel data regression biases do not exist. Then the next item we actually want to look at is panel data and its heterogeneity. The panel data series modeling centers around addressing likely dependency across data observation within the same group. In fact, the primary difference between the panel data model and time series is that panel data models allows for heterogeneity across groups and introduces individual specific effects. An example we actually intend to consider this evening is when we want to look at the gross domestic product of 5 countries such as the United States, France, Canada, Greece, and Australia. And the intuition behind that is that we actually want to specify that within these 5 countries, there may be heterogeneities across these countries. And in trying to look at these heterogeneities, we intuitively believe that one, a worldwide economic recession is likely to impact all 5 countries and cause changes in GDP across all these countries. Secondly, an election in Australia is likely to impact the GDP of Australia but may not affect the other countries in the panel. Then thirdly, a change in North American trade policy may only regionally affect or impact the US and the Canada without affecting other countries such as the France and the Greece. Then lastly, a change in euro exchange rate will most likely affect only France and Greece without actually affecting the United States, Canada, and Australia. So given these heterogeneities and differences across country, the panel data regression will be actually a veritable tool in clearing up most of these intuitions and heterogeneities across country. Panel data models include techniques that can address this heterogeneity across individual countries, and furthermore, a pure cross-sectional method and pure time series model may not be valid in the presence of the above mentioned heterogeneities in the 5 countries. So if we are to look at how to model how the gross domestic product of these 5 countries works, we actually will be needing the panel data framework to give a comprehensive explanation of how they work. Then let's look at the features of panel data. One, the panel data provide information on individual behavior of time series data and cross-sectional data. Yeah. The panel data include n individual observation. The panel data include n individual observed in all time period t for I series. This implies or means that what is applicable in the individual level may not be desirable in the general level. And thirdly, the panel data assumes correlation or clustering over time for a given individual within independent. So basically, these are the characteristics or features of the panel data regression. In subsequent class, I will explain most of these features given their mathematical intuitions. Then let's look at homogeneous versus heterogeneous panel data models. Panel data models can be split or divided or categorized into 2 broad aspects. Firstly, we have the homogeneous panel, which is also called the pooled panel. We also had the heterogeneous panel. The homogeneous panel or the pooled panel data model assume that the model parameters are common across individuals, whereas the heterogeneous model allow for all or allow for any or all of the model parameter to vary across individuals. The fixed effect and the random effect model are both examples of heterogeneous panel data model. Within this group, the assumption made about the varieties of the model across individuals are the primary drivers of the model to be used. Then basically, there are about 3 types of panel data. We have the short panel, we have the long panel, we have the in-between panel, or what they call the neutral panel, or many panels. The short panel, or in the short panel, many individuals and few time periods. For instance, we have individual X1 to X10 within year 2017 to 2019. Is a short panel because we have too many variables. We have too many variables, but we have few years. So in the long panel, we have many time periods and few individuals. Example of individual may have X1 to X3, while the year could be from 2017 to 2019. At that level, if you look at it, we have a long panel, and the number of individuals and the number of periods are virtually almost the same. Then the in-between panel or neutral panel have many individuals and many time periods. So in panel data regression, we have some dimensions of it that are critical to our understanding, such as we have the varying regressors, we have the time invariant regressors, and we have the individual invariant regressors. Remember, this class this evening is an introductory class. We may be able to, or we may not be able to go further than this. But before we end this introductory class, I want to explain the panel data regressors, and I will cap off the class. The panel data regressors, we have three of them. The first is the varying regressor. In panel data, there are a combination of I and T's. Example, we have the SIT, S underscore I and T equal to S underscore T and I. If X may be consumption, IT has both cross-sectional and time series. Then in the second dimension of it is the time invariant regressor. This occurs when the panel data makes more use of cross-sectional elements. Example, S underscore IT is a function of SI. In this context, you have more cross-sectional elements in the panel data more than the time series element. Then the last dimension of it, you have the individual invariants. This occurs when panel data makes more use of the time series element more than the cross-sectional element. But basically, in our estimations, we are going to be dealing with varying regressors, wherein the number of time series data sets may be equal to the number of cross-sectional data sets. So basically, this is where we are wrapping up this introductory class. In the next video, we are going to continue from the variation of dimensions of time series data and actually proceed towards other dimensions of it. And I believe that actually will give us a headway as we proceed further to explore the dynamics of panel data and regression in econometrics. Like I've said previously, Edward Washroom is a tutor in Edward's Academy level. Thank you and God bless you.